I think I had the utmost faith in myself and a lot of confidence in myself. I don't necessarily know if I ever saw it going like this far, but also, as you receive things in life, money, blessings, whatever, your appetite begins to grow, right? So it's like if I give you $1 million tomorrow, you're gonna learn what it's like to have $1 million, and then you're gonna start being around people that have $10 million or $100 million. You're gonna learn that there's other things that you can't get with $1 million. Right. So, your appetite grows, and I think the initial visions that I had for myself just kind of manifested. It's everything I always wanted. It's what I work tirelessly for, relentlessly, just constantly trying to, create, stay refreshing, stay consistent, learning the right amount of time to take off. Yeah, I mean, usually when it's when people start to put it in your face, when it's one of these moments like the turn of a decade or something, is when you really start to sort of see it more and realize it. I never let myself get too invested in the lows or the highs. That's kind of how I stay focused. I think initially my goal was just to be a protege that didn't flop. I just wanted to be somebody that was like remotely as important as my mentor. And yeah, from there, I think a lot of things changed when Wayne went to jail, because it was really a moment of realization. Like, all right, this guy pretty much put all his trust and all his like power behind us, and now like it's on our shoulders to like make sure that when he comes home, it's kind of like the same thing. Like if your man goes in and does a bid and you guys are doing a thing together, you want to make sure that when he comes out, you come pick him up in a nice car and say, yo, here, so it was that type of responsibility where it's like, yo, when my guy comes home, I just want to make sure that this thing is bigger than where it was when we left off. To be from here, within the music scene, like it used to be called the Screwface Capital. We just had this thing where like, I don't know, we just wanted to, I think everyone was just waiting and being like, yo, will it ever happen, And so you get a bunch of people kind of just competing at the same level for the same shows and the same radio spots and stuff, and it breeds a lot of headbutting. And yeah, I think as we started to rise, the biggest thing and the most important thing was that everyone else got to see that it was possible. Because at the time, the pitch was far-fetched. Like, okay, so you're telling me this Canadian Jew child actor is gonna be what? Is gonna be like someone that we say is in our top 5, top 10, whatever. It's like, it was a hard sell. And I think that it took me probably being the furthest candidate and making it happen for everybody else just to realize. I've felt the other side of judgment and, racial judgment sometimes, like being light-skinned, being Canadian, having people that I look up to and respect tell me that I can't identify with what's going on because, granted, I'm also not the most outspoken person when it comes to political issues. I prefer to talk about it amongst my people, and if we're gonna do something, I prefer to go and make the change or actually do something and not just like post about it so that people are like, oh wow, this guy's really conscious about what's going on. Like, the work we put in the communities, the way we give back is legit. It's on the ground. It's not so you guys can all just like, double tap and say, wow, oh man. A few bad apples want to violate. It would be a shame for me to just like, be like, I can't deal with this. It also is just like, I mean, it builds strength, as tough as it may be, it definitely strengthens your character. I mean, I've heard it all, I've seen it all. I've felt the worst of the worst and I've felt the best of the best. So it's like, it's nice to be aware of all those emotions. You know, I definitely keep them in my arsenal, in my mind, you know, and use them to channel into other things. People don't understand how overwhelming this is for these young kids, man. When I was young, I was young like that too, once upon a time. And, you know, some people say I can never understand how you can't understand till you get here. How insane this shit can be when you're carrying a bunch of people on your back and expected to do so much. And so I would say that's my biggest accomplishment. Is just still being here, and I pray that all these guys moving forward just, you know, take it one day at a time, keep the right people around you, and just know that even when it is, you know, it is overwhelming, just know that it's not like, you know, that you know, it's I just want people to stay around. That's really my biggest thing. You know, that stuff fucks with me when we lose people. I don't like that stuff because I want to hear what all these kids have to offer. So.